Hi there, this is Ronnie and Buzz Knight coming at you with a video. Today I'm going to do a review of something a little different from my usual role-playing game overviews. I'm going to talk about this, Munchkin from Steve Jackson Games. I got this last year and I've had a couple of games of it and I thought I would give you my thoughts. Um, for the small handful out there who do not know what Munchkin is a card game which is a parody of dungeoneering, the old fantasy trope of a group of heroes going into a deep dark dungeon, killing monsters and getting loot. Munchkin uh, turns on the funnies with it, first of all by making it a game where there can be only one winner and having some hilarious items or hilariously named items. The front of the box, this is the deluxe version, which I'll explain just what the difference is in a minute. And you can see the artwork there, and if I turn it over, you can have a look at the artwork. And the artwork here is pretty much a good representation of what is on the cards. In it you can face such monsters as the angry chicken and the plutonium dragon, and kill them with such weapons as the sneaky bastard sword and the chainsaw of bloody dismemberment. As you can tell, this game isn't even attempting to be serious, and anyone who tries to play it as if it's a serious game really, needs a head examined. The game itself, there's lots of little widgets for the rules, but the game itself is essentially a card game. You have two piles of cards. You have a Thor pile and a treasure pile. You start the game with a hand of cards made up of 4 from the door deck, 4 from the treasure deck, and this allows you to place items in front of you that you can use. This can be armor, various kinds of footwear, headwear, weaponry of course, and can include potions, and it might even include some monsters in your hand. I'll get to that in a minute. Once you've decided who goes first, there's a roll of the die and highest wins. Turn is very simple. You turn over the top card of the door deck. It's called Kicking in the Door. You turn it over, face over for everyone to see. If it's a monster, you have to fight it right there, right then. If it's a curse, it applies immediately. If it's any other card, you put it in your hand. This then allows you to do one of two things. You can either take a monster out of your own hand and fight it, or, if you can't be bothered doing any of that, you can loot the room, which basically means you take the top card off the door deck and you put it in your hand in secret. Combat is very simple. All your characters start at level 1. The crux of the game is that you're trying to get to level 10. When you enter into combat, all the monsters have a level, and you are trying to get higher than that level. You do that by adding up what level you are currently and any bonuses you get for any weapons, potions, special effects cards that you have in front of you. Potions are one-off items, like magic spells, which you can play. Now, if it's still not enough to defeat the particular monster, you can ask for help from your players who can give you things to help with. They might want some of your treasure in return for it, but you can ask for help. Also, if it looks like it's getting too easy for you, those players can also add potions and spell effects, one-off effects, to make the monster more difficult to defeat. If you defeat the monster, you go up one level, and you get a certain amount of treasure. The amount of treasure cards that you're allowed to pick is on the monster card. If you don't defeat it, then you have to run away. Running away is very simple. You get a 6-sided die and you roll, and you're looking for a 5 or more. You roll the die and you add on any bonuses to run away that you might have amongst the cards in front of you. Not the cards in your hand, just the ones that you've laid in front of you, special items. Running shoes and so on, which give you bonuses. If it's a 5 or more, you run away. If you run away, then you get to survive, but you don't get any treasure. And you don't go up a level. If you don't run away, then bad stuff happens. All the monster cards have a small bit of text that say bad stuff, and if it catches you, then the bad stuff happens. This can be anything from losing an item to losing a level, and in a couple of cases, losing a life. It's a riot. It's an absolute riot. The game allows you to have a great deal of fun. It's very much a party game. It's for 3 to 6 players. I had one small problem with it is the fact that sometimes getting 3 players together is a little difficult. Getting 2 players together is sometimes more easy, but you can't really run Munchkin with 2 players. That's a small problem I have with it. Leveling up, there are certain cards that let you go up a level. You can sell items. You can get 1 level for every 1,000 gold that you spend. The only caveat to that is that in order to get from 9th to 10th level, you must kill a monster. There are a couple of cards that allow certain character classes to raise up a level, and if that just happens to get them to 10th level, then they win. So there's that. But other than that, then you have to kill a monster to get from 9th to 10th. And you do tend to find that's when players throw everything at the monster to stop you winning. But, you know, it's what happens. When Munchkin came out originally, it was literally a card game. You got cards, you got a little dice with a little Munchkin symbol instead of the 1. And you had to come up with tokens or get a 10-sided die, just some way to note which level you were on. They've since come out with the Munchkin Deluxe, which is this, and it's essentially the same game. It's the same game as the standard version. What they've added is a board. Now the board makes it sound like it's a board game now, but it's not. The board is simply a visual representation of levels 1 to 10 rather than using little counters. And you get little figures which you can put on level 1 and then maneuver up to level 10. It's just a visual aid. I like that visual aid very much. I think for someone who has never played any game like this, I think it's a useful visual aid. And it's not that much more expensive than the actual game. There are an unbelievable amount of expansions for this. There are expansions to the main Munchkin game, and there are offshoots. There's Munchkin's games set in space with the companions to that. There's Munchkin Cthulhu, there's Super Munchkin, Munchkin Conan, Munchkin, you know, cowboys, spies, ninjas. I think there's a police one. And one of the beauties of it is because the game hasn't changed between any of them, you can actually mix and match any of the sets together. So you could have your sort of main deck if you wanted. Go and get the Munchkin Cthulhu and mix them in. Go and get the space one and mix it in. Go and get the cowboy one and mix it in. And find yourself with a fantasy, sci-fi western facing eldritch horrors with laughs. And it's as ridiculous as it sounds, and that's kind of the point of it. Do I like it? Hells yeah. It's not without its problems. I mean, I ended up buying expansion 2 and 3, Unnatural Acts and Clerical Errors. And I found a small problem with that is the fact that unless you do a really good job of shuffling the cards, you can find yourself in real difficulty. With a lot of sort of sections coming out at once. And the amount that you have in the original, I think there's a problem that maybe, just maybe, you might find yourself falling foul of the old sort of adage of learning to count the cards and the cards becoming a bit predictable. Doesn't detract from the fun too much, I don't think, but it's there. Would I recommend it to anyone, everyone, elsewhere? The community group, I've actually got it from, the deluxe version, because it really is a fantastic game. I think it's very simple to learn. I think it would take maybe a game or two when you have very inexperienced players just to get them into the mindset of it. But I think after that, they will run with it. It doesn't require a great deal of strategy. It's not... I think if you're someone who plays board games or card games and you want something that has really deep strategy and a great deal of depth in gameplay, go elsewhere. Munchkin ain't going to do it for you. If, however, you like games that are light and fun and are just very silly, and you can play it for an hour or so and just have fun with other players, then I would say get Munchkin, have a ball. It's funny as hell. Don't take it seriously. Leave your ego at the door and just have a ball. So that's my view of Munchkin. If you don't have it, go get it. Really, go and get it. I think you'll love it.